What we used to do when we were doing a lot of stuff with things like the 550 for a specific customer, I produced a table of all the parameters for the different cabinets that that customer had that were different to default. Because if you've got to take the Danfoss manual, which has got a million parameters in it, to every cabinet, and you're stood there typing in the numbers and this, that, it's going to take you forever. And what we found was you could reduce it down to that for this customer to that number of parameters that were different to default. Because, you know, the defaults work for a lot of things. This gave the minimum number of parameters that people needed to change for any given cabinet. And it just makes your life a lot easier. I mean, there's nothing to stop you doing this with one of your own cabinets that you know to be good. You know, manually record the parameters out of it versus the list. You only need to do it once, and then it saves you every time, because you know what will happen. You'll get to the case, you'll have no 4G, which means you can't get the manual online, or you've had to screenshot it or download it or whatever else. Yeah. Sometimes it's just easier to have it. We had all our guys had this on a laminated A4. We did it specifically so it would all fit on one sheet. If you're doing a lot of cases, it makes your life a lot easier.
But even if you look at Kevin's parameters, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases here. Look, they're all almost all the same in the low temp, but you get down here, there's just a couple of parameters that are just a little bit different. Most of them are still all the same afterwards, and there's one that's a little change right here. But you got to save time doing that. And this is your base, right? Because maybe you have it in a deli or in a bakery versus back in where the meat is or back where produce is. They might have to be adjusted. And you actually have it there. You have produce and you have deli, so which is good.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, the key things are things like the defrost sensor. So your freezers, which you can see on there from the control temps, they were electric defrost. So you want to set the defrost sensor to be S5. When you've got off-cycle stuff, you want to set the defrost sensor to be the air off probe. That's one of the key ones to set. A lot of them, you will get away without having them exactly how they need to be, things like drain down time and what have you. But things like that are going to be key. And fans in defrost, things like that in DO9, the one above it. If you've got electric defrost, a lot of the time you're not going to want the fans on during electric defrost. Some of them you will, but especially if it's a cold store, you don't want the fans on.
You don't, because that's when you walk into like a freezer or something and it's like, oh, look at all these droplets on the roof. What's going on here?
Yeah. Oh, Santa's grotto. Yeah, exactly.